This is where we run down physical media by the numbers. First, we take a look at the top 20 selling 4K Ultra HD discs of the past week. I give you my thoughts and recommendations on every single title. And then, of course, we get into the market share breakdown where we look at the different disc formats, DVDs, Blu-rays, 4K, see how well they're selling in comparison to one another. And then we get into the revenue report where we see the revenue that physical media is bringing in overall. And then, of course, we just have a wonderful time talking movies. So, before we get into that, if you love collecting just like me and being a part of this amazing league of mega film fans and want to support physical media out there, go ahead and mega smash that like and subscribe. That way, you stay entertained and up to date on all these physical media topics. And of course, leave in the comments below. First, what do you think is going to be the number one selling 4K disc of the week? And then, of course, what do you think is going to be the top disc format as well? But let's go ahead get into these numbers here. First up, we got Saw X, and I do really enjoy this movie. I think it was a worthy entry into the Saw franchise. It kind of went back to formula with really focusing on the John Kramer character. So I thought the story was really solid. I want to see where they go with the rest of the franchise after that. Next up, we got Fast X. Yes, right by Saw X. You got to have Fast X because it's all about family here. And Fast X is a dumb, fun action movie. I got a kick out of it. Jason Momoa as the eccentric villain is just so hilarious in that one. Next up, we got Face Off. We got John Travolta versus Nicolas Cage. Swapping faces out there. I need to pick this one up on 4K as well because I've only seen this one on VHS and we definitely need to upgrade the quality there. But it was a really fun movie, kind of along the lines of a Fast X of just being dumb action fun. But I will take that any day. Next up, we got to have Barbie. This one gets a little too dumb for me, in my opinion. Just not the movie for me, but I love that everybody else loves this one. But it's going to do well. It's going to sell on physical media for a long, long time because it did great at the box office, just like a John Wick, maybe even more popular than that. It's going to be on these sales reports for quite some time. I don't get it, but who cares? Let's celebrate physical media anyway. Next up, we got The Creator, which I like the beginning of this movie. I do like the premise. I like the visual effects. It does take you into this really cool sci-fi world, but the ending just kind of really let me down. But I'm surprised to see it selling so well on physical media because it did terrible at the box office. I was like the only one in the theater. But hey, if people are picking up on it, you guys gotta let me know what you think of that one in the comments. Next up, we got The Fugitive, which is one of my favorite Harrison Ford movies. It's like a thriller mystery. I really like this one. We got Tom Lee Jones in there, spitting out all sorts of lines, and it's just really intriguing, the story here. So great performances all around. It's a must see if you have not yet seen it, and I still need to pick it up on 4K myself. I was still kind of waiting for a discount. Next up, we got John Wick Chapter 4. No surprises here. This movie is going to be on the list till the end of time at this point, or at least until the next John Wick movie comes out. I mean, people just love this one, and to me, it's the best 4K disc of the year. So no complaints from me. Happy to see it selling so well. Next up, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, one of the best animated titles of the year, in my opinion. I love the animation style. I thought the voice acting was great. I thought it had a really good heartfelt story in there. So it was definitely fun for the whole family. Next up, speaking of a movie that's not really fun for the whole family or anybody, we got The Exorcist Believer. This movie was absolutely terrible by the second half. The first half was okay, kind of creepy, got a good awesome horror atmosphere to it, but completely dropped the ball. Don't know where they're going with that franchise, but I'm definitely off that train. And yeah, I don't want to see what's next from the Exorcist franchise at all. Next up, we got Batman Mask of the Phantasm, one of the best DC animated movies ever created. This one actually got a theatrical release. Really, really good story. It has a mystery in there as well. So haven't seen it yet. You got to check this one out and don't research it beforehand. You want the shocks and surprises in there. But yeah, definitely check that out if you're a DC fan. Next up, we got to have The Equalizer 3. Not a bad Equalizer movie in the franchise. This movie has great locale, so I'm sure the 4K sharpness looks really, really good. And, you got bloody, gory action. That's what you get from Equalizer, right? Next up, we got The Warriors still playing on the physical media news reports. So, yeah, The Warriors, never seen it. Just know some of the famous lines from the movie. I do want to check it out. There's a lot of cool Arrow editions here. So, once it gets even more of a discount, I will pick up on that one. Next up, we got Five Nights at Freddy's. That movie did killer at the box office, no pun pun intended. Now, it wasn't my favorite movie because, it's like PG-13 horror, family, gateway horror, whatever you want to call it. I did like the animatronics. I thought the story was a little bit weaker. I would be curious to see what they do with a sequel, but happy to see it selling so well on physical disc. Next up, we got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, I did not really care for this Indiana Jones movie. When I saw it in theaters, to me, it was the worst out of the franchise. Yes, even worse than Kingdom of Crystal Skull. They completely missed the mark here, just went way, way, way too sci fi and had all the mistakes that you don't want to see in an Indiana Jones movie. So I will pick it up on physical media eventually once it gets a super massive discount just to complete the franchise, but I am not looking forward to a rewatch of that one. Next up, we got Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Now, I'm not really a big fan of Part 1 movies, but this one did have some cool action set pieces, and I do want to see where a Part 2 goes, even though I heard they're dropping the Dead Reckoning name. So, what is Part 2 going to be called? Who knows? But that movie was all set up. Let's see if it pays off in the sequel. Next up, we got The Expendables 4, which I can't recommend the most because it was just not that great of an action movie. Megan Fox's acting was absolutely terrible, and it just was a nonsensical story. So many random things happen to it, which you just question it. You question it at the end of the day. So even though there may be some fun action moments, not enough fun for me, unfortunately. Next up, we got Titanic, which I do want to pick up on 4K because I know I will rewatch it a whole bunch. I love the romance in there. The acting is fantastic. It turning into a blockbuster disaster movie in the second half is so intense. So even though it's a super long movie, doesn't feel that long. I can really get into that one, and the music is so good as well. So I do want to get that one on 4K when it gets a massive drop in price. Next up, we got to have our top three here. We got Avatar doing really, really well. I think this one got discounted. The visuals look great on the 4K disc. It's like rewatching it for the first time, and I really do enjoy having that one in the collection. Definitely 4K reference quality. Speaking of reference quality, number two, we got to have Avatar: The Way of Water. This one, of course, is selling super well if the original is selling, and The Way of Water was a great sequel. I think they improved upon everything. The story was even better, and you still had great visuals, you had great sounds, great music, and I mean, just going into the water environments really took up the 4K power. So, really, really enjoyed seeing that one on disc and in theaters. Can't complain there. Next up, number one, if you guessed it, congratulations, it's Oppenheimer again. Oppenheimer is the king of physical media right now. It's just destroying everything in its path. I mean, kind of ironic, right? But everybody loved Oppenheimer, did well at the box office, and it's just doing so good on disc. But that's because Nolan championed the film. It was sold out at one point, so I guess people are just trying to pick it up before it sells out again. And I'll be curious to check this one out on 4K disc maybe in the future. I didn't super love the movie. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. Just didn't super love it. Would like to see if it played better on a rewatch. But I kind of have a hate love relationship with Nolan films. But there we go. Those were the top 20 selling 4K Ultra HD discs of the past week. Now let's get into the market share breakdown. Taking a look at these home video charts to compare the different disc formats, and we see that 4K's got a little bit of a boost, about 5% of a jump up, which is nice. I guess it's because of the titles that came out, right? Everybody was picking up Face Off. That must have been it. Or I guess just Oppenheimer selling really well, or just 4K's on a discount, right? People picking up the Avatar movies. So it totally makes sense. Now, Blu-rays, status quo, about 30%. Not a big shift there at all. So yeah, happy Blu-rays are still doing very solid. And then DVDs at 51% had a little bit of a drop to give the 4Ks a little extra boost, but they're still above 50%. DVD is still king. I made a whole video talking about why they are still king, so I'll definitely link that one in the description below in case you missed that one. But DVDs are the cheap, convenient option. They're everywhere, and there's way more titles available on DVD than, say, Blu-ray and 4K. So that still makes sense. DVD is the more global preferred format by the mass majority market out there. So totally makes sense. Now, let's go ahead and get into the revenue reports. All right, let's take a look here at the physical media numbers overall. What are the monies the discs are bringing in? That is most important. And we're in red alert still. We are in red alert still. We've been on red alert. I would love to see some more green in here, but my guess is that people started and stopped shopping after those Christmas sales. Once they got what they needed for their holiday gifts or just stocking up for their own collection, they are now out on physical media for a little bit of time. They're just recovering. They're watching their movies now that they got stacked around them. I get it, but still a little bit unfortunate. Take a look at these numbers here. So they're bringing in 46.5 million, which is a good chunk. That's still a lot of money. That's why we still need to produce physical media discs, because they don't want to leave that money on the table. So that's still quite a bit of money. That's why they're still making discs, even though it's in a decrease. It's still money on the table right there, right? They got to pick up on that. But we are down there about 13% from the same week a year ago. So that is still a little bit of a big jump, unfortunately. I would like to see a smaller little dip, because we guessed it was going to dip a little bit after the holidays, but that's still pretty massive of a decrease, unfortunately. But then when we compare them, we see DVDs are actually bringing in more money than Blu-rays currently, just by a little bit, but that is still relevant because DVDs are king for a reason. They're making more money. That's why more things coming out on DVD. That's why they're selling more. I mean, it just makes sense, right? But they're bringing in 25.72 million. Once again, a good chunk of change, but that is still down about 19% from that same week a year ago. So yeah, once again, unfortunate that it's decreased so much, and that's a massive number there, and that we're in red alert there with DVDs. Now, when we look at the Blu-ray side of things, it doesn't get much better there. We're still bringing in a good chunk of money, 20.78 million, but we're down about 4%, which isn't as massive of how much DVDs are down. I mean, what's happening here, people? Does that mean people that were collecting DVDs have just passed on, and now the new people, the younger generation, are just taking up streaming, no disc altogether? That could be a possibility, right? I mean, I got to hear from you guys. What do you think is going on with these revenue numbers? Are we going to continually see decreases and decreases over this upcoming year here in 2024? Now, I don't know. I've seen spikes of green before when I thought things were going to be in red alert for a long time. So maybe, just maybe, it depends on the titles that come out, because January is usually a slower month, February a slower month, but the spring kicks up, the summer kicks up, really awesome titles get released, and then this could all go green at some point. So it's a possibility. But before we get out of here, go ahead and mega smash that like and subscribe. That way you stay entertained and up to date on all these movie number goodness all year long. I will keep you updated as these numbers change. So you got to turn on that alert notification bell so you know when a video is posted. And of course, leave it in the comments below. What do you think of the revenue report numbers? How do you think physical media is going to do overall in 2024? Are we going to be on red alert forever? Do you think it's just a slow couple months? Let's have those fun movie conversations down below. And if you enjoy this physical media topic, blockbuster the next video right now. And thank you so much, my mega membership supporters.